Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm here today with Emilio from Panama. It's early in the morning in Panama. Thank you so much, Emilio, for being here with us. Emilio is a founding partner of Panama Global Solutions. He's an attorney in Panama City, and he has helped thousands of clients from the United States, Canada, Europe, and Latin America to get permanent residency permits in Panama. And Emilio, thank you so much for joining us tonight. My night, your morning.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you for the chance to share the latest news over here. And yeah, good morning, everyone. Happy start of the weekend. I know we've been seeing a lot happening online in regards to the Friendly Nations residency program for the past couple of days. And I'm quite sure, quite confident there's more than a few questions to debate and to understand. So yeah, I'm happy for the chance and thank you again for the opportunity to do this with you,
Yeah,
Kathleen.
you're most welcome. So guys, the reason why we're doing this at such an odd time for me so late and with terrible lighting, and for Emilio it's really early in the morning. Really the reason
Not
is
that bad.
the reason is because there has been some massive changes with the Friendly Nations visa in Panama. So previously it was quite easy to get a visa to move to Panama, and we all know that Panama has a territorial tax system, so really beneficial, especially for those that have international businesses, to lower their taxes. But now it was only last week that we've received the news that there's quite some big changes coming in for the applications of Friendly Nations visas, which Amelia is going to explain to us what those changes mean and what you guys can do to possibly still get in.
Of course. It's funny though, because we were just chatting about this last week. These changes were not unexpected. We've been expecting them for the past couple of years, to be honest. Of course, the pandemic put a hold on these reforms, but just last October, last year, there were strong rumors online and many communities about Friendly Nations visa being canceled or reformed. They were just rumors back then, but we were advised that they were coming. So it just happened last week on Thursday 20th, when the executive decree 197 was published, and these changes do affect future applications, not from today, not from the date it was published, but 90 days after that. So we still have a gap. A 90-day now is like 86-day gap to file residency applications under the current regulations. Kathleen, I don't know if I can probably share my screen. I can share a quick presentation just comparing. Will that work?
Yes, it should. Hold on. I can make you a host, and then
There you go. Okay, so I promise I won't take more than 7, 10 minutes, something like that.
that's all good.
So, very well. So, as you probably heard about already, knew, we had this Friendly Nations visa that granted you permanent residency with just a few easy steps, a couple of trips to Panama, and that was it. Starting May 18, and that was one of the questions, there was a lot of debate as to when this, August 18, as to when these 90 days will end. The executive decree is from May the 7th, but it was published on May 20th. And what the decree states is that these 90 days will start to count from the day of publishing. So that will be August 18. You will see both options online. People are counting from the date that they see at the end of the decree, but we have to look at the date that we see on top of the decree. That is when it was actually published in the official government newspaper, to put it like this. So pretty briefly, let's go through current rules. Right now, we will need from applicants a passport and a second ID. This could be a national ID or a driver's license. As long as it has the applicant's photo, it will count as a second ID. We need police records with apostille stamp. As an alternative, these police records may be stamped by the Panamanian consulate. That sometimes seems to be easier than getting an apostille, especially during these crucial times we've been living globally for the past year. And all we needed to intend or to prove from the applicant is a business intent. This means to show that the applicant has the idea, the purpose to set up a business in Panama. This is as easy as incorporating a Panamanian company that can be accomplished in a matter of 1 week, 4 days, 10 days, depends on your attorney, but it's very swiftly. The process is quite swiftly, and we can even do it and complete it remotely. And at the moment, the applicant is also being required a bank account, a private bank account at a Panamanian bank where they're supposed to deposit 5,000 US dollars. On top of that, as mentioned, the current regulations states that the applicant may obtain permanency upon the first application. This means if we submit an application, let's say today, Monday, May 24th, it's quite possible that the applicant will become a permanent resident by August, September, October top. As long as we submit it before August 18, we will get a permanent status within the next 3 to 4 months. So that's the reality right now, guys, and that's how it will work for the next 86 days. If you can manage to get everything ready before then and visit Panama, please try to come by August 1st, 2nd. Don't let it until the end of the 90 days because then it will be quite difficult to get everything in place. So let's take briefly a quick look to the current rules and the new rules starting in August 18. And as you can notice, a second ID is not longer being requested. According to the Executive Decree 197, the new requirements have excluded this at all. And that's not bad because I have encountered clients that for any given reason, they haven't renewed their national ID or their driver's license. And it becomes a bit of a hiccup when we have to complete the application and especially with digital nomads. Sometimes you are only traveling with your passport. You no longer care about national IDs. So that's a pro, no a con. Still, police records with Apple still, this is still needed. And we have to state here that in any case, current rules and under new rules, these documents shouldn't be older than 6 months. This is the part where it gets tricky. Now, instead of a simple business intent, instead of simply having a company, the applicant must prove either work-related reasons or investment reasons. And let's look into this a little bit. When we're talking about work-related reasons, we need to show or prepare some kind of a labor situation with a Panamanian company, a link with a Panamanian company. It's not that complicated, because all we need to provide is a work letter in the company stationery, in the company letterhead, stating salary, position, and making the employer, this is the Panamanian company, liable for any kind of repatriation expenses. This is a simple letter. We have the template, the draft already, and we can provide it for new applicants starting in 86 days. A certificate of good standing is basically that, a government issued document that confirms that this company exists and is actually still valid. It's not a dissolved company or anything like that. And an operation license. This is a government issued document as well that basically states the specific commercial activity of the company. This means what the company engaged in the Republic of Panama. This doesn't mean immediately that you can only provide services in Panama or that you even have to provide them, but we do need to request this document confirming the commercial activity of the company within the territory of Panama and its address, okay? You are not forced to provide services within Panama, but you have to declare that you have some kind of activity in Panama. This does trigger certain taxes. Just by the fact that you have an operation license, the company will have to bear an annual tax of $100. It's not that complicated, but that's something to keep in mind. And also, by having an operation license, the company will trigger municipality taxes, local taxes. These are not also considerably amount to bear in mind. To be honest, The most complex, well-developed municipality in Panama is, of course, Panama City, the capital, and their commercial activities are taxed at about $10 per month. There are certain commercial activities that are more expensive, to be honest, but the worst case scenario will be $10 per month. Given that we will have to consider taxes at a national and at a municipality level, we will advise clients to get in contact with one of our accountants. We have 3 or 4 accountants in our network, and I'm pretty sure it will be easier to handle this part, because even when taxes are not that high, not at all, to be honest, not doing this properly, not doing this right, may trigger some kind of fines or penalties that will be higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier just to pay an accountant to take care of this part and get done with it. And this is another change. In order to get the residency approved for the first time, and I will let you know what that means, we will also need to apply for a work permit. At the moment, permanent residents under the friendly nations can apply for a work permit for 3 years. There is a special class or category of work permit that exists for permanent residents. At the moment, as of today, we don't have a work permit for this new residency application. This is yet to be regulated. I'm quite confident this will be approved within the next couple of days. So we will know what will this have to be, what do we have to consider when it comes to this new work permit. In any case, we will need to submit the residency application, and before its approval, we need to submit proof that we're also processing a work permit for this person. This is if the applicant opts for the work reasons, under work-related reasons, to obtain the friendly nations residency permit. We have, as I mentioned, another option, and that is investment reasons. And that's very straightforward. The applicant must invest $200,000 or more in real estate. The title, the property should be under the applicant's name. We're trying to ask the authorities to consider having title under a company or a foundation, because several clients like some kind of a more complex structure than just having property under their own name. So that may change in the future, but at the moment, this is how it is. The applicant must buy real estate under his or her name for $200,000. One little benefit here is that this executive decree allows for bank financing. So you don't have to consider putting down the whole 200K. Most banks will lend applicants, foreigners, not most banks, some banks will lend foreigners if they put down, let's say, 30, 40% of a purchase price, and then they will finance the rest. So work-related reason, investment reasons. What else has changed? No bank account is needed. The executive decree left out the need of a bank account with $5,000, which is okay, good. That's the new change. And this is where it gets more tricky. Instead of getting permanent residency immediately, the applicant will first obtain a 2-year permit. And once the second year is about to end, one can request permanency. Of course, in order to request permanency, we'll need to file a second application. We'll need to prove that either the work reasons or the investment reasons are still there, and that's it. Just at this point is when the applicant will obtain permanency and eventually tax residency and the rest. So as you may see, Kathleen and everybody out there, it's way easier to apply under current regulations. We understand that the clock is ticking, and 3 months is not a lot of time, but if you can manage to do it, it will be way easier and more beneficial for you, because you're obtaining permanency in a few months. If you cannot make it, there are options after August 18. So that's basically what has changed. I will stop sharing right now, and
thank
pretty
you
sure
so
you may
much.
have a few questions.
Yeah, thank you for laying that out. I think that's very great to see it visually. But yeah, it's a massive change to going from having to put 5,000 US dollars to potentially, you know, having to invest 200,000 into real estate, or having to show a employment contract or something like that. So for those that are still able to get in before August, definitely do it, because you would still be able to get access to permanent residency way quicker than through these new rules. You will have to wait 2 years until you get to permanent residency and tax residency. So, and I guess you mentioned at the end that there are still some options available. I guess for especially our digital nomads or online entrepreneurs, they might be more looking at, if they don't make it till August to Panama, after that, they might be more looking at a work employment contract and or getting that letter from a potential employer. Are there, what are their options left after that if they don't have potentially the capital of making a 200,000 investment into real estate?
Sure, and to be honest, that's probably the majority of the cases. We have a few applicants, even under current rules, that they get interested in investing in real estate. They like what they see over here, and they want to diversify their portfolio. But that's not the majority of the cases, to be honest. So we are preparing for those, and most likely, what has to be done is still to set up a company. Um, this work letter should be signed by the legal representative of this company. Hence, it shouldn't be the same applicant. Someone else should be the legal rep of this company, the one that will declare the, it's more like a job offer that the applicant will have under this company, okay? You don't need to actually show a contract or an ongoing relationship, to be honest, just some kind of job offer. The company is offering this applicant as a software development with a salary of $5,000, for example, and that's it. There are no minimum requirements. This is just an example, but definitely a work letter in the company's letterhead that can be arranged, and an operational license. Those are the three trickiest part. This will, of course, add some expenses, but it won't be on the thousands of dollars. I'm not that concerned about how to prepare the way to apply even for the 2 year or the permanent residency. I believe it's more of a getting ready with enough time in advance, because several applicants were considering being permanent residents by 2022. Now, if they cannot make it by August 18, then they have to think ahead of a couple of years. Instead of getting their plans ready in such a short period of time, with so short notice, now they have to consider that if they start the application by the end of this year, for example, they won't be permanent residents probably until the end of 2024, 23, or beginning of 2024. So it's just a matter of preparing with more time in advance. The rest of the documents, the way I stated, I know it looks a bit, I don't want to say scary, but heavy to get this work relationship stated, but it can be done. And as mentioned, whatever expenses or taxes are related to it are not that high unless the applicant actually has an intention to do business in Panama and declare income made in Panama. That's a whole different story. But in any case, we will have a couple of accountants line up for new applicants, so they can get everything in place and all the ducks in a row properly. Because again, taxes are not expensive. Fines, maybe.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So in the past, a lot of people used to have their businesses overseas and simply a Panamanian permanent residency, and then tied to that their tax residency. So under these new rules, would they still be able to have an overseas company, but then also open up the Panamanian company in order to get a work letter and a work engagement in Panama?
Sure, Kathleen, and that's a really valid question, because they will have then these two structures or constellations, and the one they're using overseas with to offer their services or whatever they're doing abroad, and the one they need here to maintain the residency at least until they become permanent residents. Yes, it's possible these new rules or there's nothing in Panamanian law that forbids for one applicant or even tourist or citizen to have companies here or abroad. So that will still be a possibility, definitely.
And then if they were to set up this company under the new rules in Panama, are they still allowed to be then the directors, or just the legal counsels would have to need to be the directors in order to give them a work employment contract?
Given the company, a Panamanian company, requires three directors at least, yes, they may be one of the directors. We're just advising new applicants not to be the president and legal representative, because that will be the person issuing the work letter. And issuing a work letter on your own behalf is a bit, there's a conflict of interest there. But they can still be, of course, the sole owner of the company and one of the other two directors in the board of directors of the company.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I think that's very important for people to know, that they will still be able to own the company and still be involved within the company, although they need to show the requirement that they're basically employed or in a work employment relationship with their company. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emilio. That was a great insight into all of the changes that are currently going on. I can't imagine how busy you currently are with all of these new changes and everyone trying to rush and get their permits. I personally know we definitely have people who had Panama on their list and who were trying to get there by the end of this year, and now maybe they'll just have to rush to gather the documents quicker than they thought. And there's definitely benefits in getting there before August to get in under the old rules, where you can get basically permanent residency within a couple of months and not having to wait 2 years to have permanent residency and then only being able to access the tax residency with it.
That is right. That is right. With ever since Thursday night, we've been working all around the clock. The good thing is that we have a team of lawyers at PES, and you're in good hands, because it's not just me. There's plenty of us working around the clock to get everyone in place. Those that can still apply before August 18, we have the people to help them. And for those who can't, we're developing the structure to make it as smooth and as easy as possible when the time comes.
Perfect. Awesome. Love your work, Emilio. Thank you so much for taking the time in your
Thank you
early
for the
morning.
opportunity.